Welcome to the San Diego Opera video podcast. I'm Nick Reveles, of course, and my guest today is our Aida in the upcoming production of Verdi's opera, Latonia Moore. Latonia, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to San Diego.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's my first time even seeing the city.
And you've never even been here? You haven't seen the city?
No, my first time.
Never been south of what, LA perhaps? You've been to LA?
No, not really. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about your background. You're from Houston, originally.
Born and raised.
Where did you begin singing?
Well, I started like a lot of singers do, a lot of black singers in church.
In church.
So me and my sisters, my grandmother would take us around to different churches and we go and kind of gig.
Oh, you were a group?
Yeah, the Moore singers, me and all my sisters and my aunt who's around the same age and my cousin.
How cool.
So we'd go around Houston singing at different churches. Then once I got into junior high school, I kind of followed in the footsteps of my second sister who was doing classical music and jazz. So I did the same thing. Got into high school. I was still doing classical choir, but my focus was more jazz. So once I got into college, I chose to be a jazz performance major. And I still did classical choir, but as a vocal major, you were required to take classical voice lessons, regardless of the genre of your major.
Sure.
So I got in with the teacher, and he was doing some warm-ups, and thought, I think you're more for opera.
Oh yeah.
So I joined the opera chorus. And I loved it, and I never looked back. So I switched my major and went into opera full throttle, and the rest is history.
What school was it?
I was at the University of North Texas in Denton.
Oh, for gosh sake! And does it have a renowned vocal program, or?
It does. It has a great vocal program. I mean, the big reason I went there is because the jazz program was so amazing at the time, but the vocal program turned out to be awesome.
Wow.
And I found a great teacher once I really wanted to get into opera, and she was just an amazing technician, and she was all about natural vocal production. And me and everybody else that came out of the studio definitely came out with a real good sense of who they were vocally and what their voice sounded like naturally. So it was great education.
I'm so glad to hear that, because you do hear from not just critics, but people in the opera business, that so many voices for such a long time were alike.
Yeah,
that it was almost like voices were manufactured in the conservatory and the university system, where there was a certain standard, which is good, but it ended up that there were no individual sounds like there used to be. And I'm hearing more and more people being true to their voices, and you're getting more characteristic voices. You're getting more voices that sound like the people that they are, which is exciting. I want to hear the difference between, this singer and that singer.
Yeah,
even though
they may be unique.
Even though they may be singing the same role. So that makes sense to you, and that was the way you were trained, which is wonderful.
Definitely.
That's great.
I think so too.
Now let's fast forward a bit. You had a really exciting debut at the Met.
Oh, you fast way forward.
I'm skipping a lot of stuff, because I know that it's a Met debut doesn't happen overnight, but even when it seems like it does, there's a lot of background there. But that was such an exciting thing, because I believe it was the first time in a long time where I'd seen a report in the New York Times about a singer debuting at the Met, and it was on the front page. And I'm going like, oh, that's cool. And this lady's coming to sing Aida for us.
Yeah.
So I was very, very excited about that. How did it come about?
I was the cover, actually, for Violetta Ormana. And during the whole production, she wasn't feeling well. She wasn't up to par, And the last two performances, the second to last performance, instead of putting me on, they put on another soprano, Sandra Romanovsky. So I'm not sure. I think she wasn't available for the very last performance, and Violetta ended up canceling the very last one a couple of days, like a day and a half before the actual matinee.
Right.
And that's when somebody from the rehearsal department called me, because I was really bummed that I didn't get to do the show the one before. I was just why didn't they put me on? And my colleagues, like Stephanie Blythe and Marcello Giordani, they were really in my corner. They were like, no, this is an outrage. They really should go ahead and put you on. Because
and you were the cover.
Yeah, you were the cover. Yeah. You've done Aida around the world. They should have let you sing it. So they were really in my corner, including Aprile Milo, who was instrumental in really getting people behind me for it. And lo and behold, I get the call about a day and a half before. And he said, yes, this is John from the rehearsal department, and we have decided to put you on for the matinee performance and broadcast. Last performance of Aida. So I was like, like running around my living room, like going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And just, freaking out because, as a cover, you don't get any stage time.
Right.
You get no stage rehearsal. You get no rehearsal with the maestro.
You can watch.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
It doesn't really do much.
No.
And nothing prepared me for the size of the set for Aida. Like, seeing it from the audience is one thing, and you think, wow, that's immense, But once, about 7 minutes before each act, they were walking me onto the set so that I could see it, and I was looking straight up. Like, oh, man.
And it's even bigger on stage than it is.
Even bigger. I felt like an ant on the stage for sure. And I was so excited, and it was really awesome. And I was getting everybody pumped backstage. And my colleagues are laughing because, they do this all the time. So I get ready to walk out on the stage, and all this excitement turned to sheer nervousness, in the blink of an eye. And I was like, there are 11 million people listening to me on the radio right now. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I was really starting to freak a little. And then, Stephanie Blythe sings in your face. And I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to hear anything. It's over. And then somehow I snapped immediately into character and back into where I was. I was like, okay, I'm in Egypt right now, and so this is it.
Be in the moment.
So that's exactly what happened. And the energy from the crowd, they were so on my side because of the nature of the debut.
Right.
They were, it had only, I guess I was the 5th one in history to make my debut that way on a broadcast.
How cool is that?
So it was amazing. They were so on my side, and it was just thrilling, like one of the best days of my whole life.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was really, really great. Yeah.
Now, I think the audience watching and listening knows Aida pretty well. I don't want to bother with the story and about all the ins and outs of that. I'm interested in, as a singer, and you do kind of specialize in Aida. It's a role that you sing a lot.
A lot.
So my question is, what else? What else is in your repertoire that you're singing, that you're called upon to sing?
Let's see. I do still sing Madame Butterfly.
Okay.
I do that about every other year. I still do. And it's funny because I started out much more singing Mimi and Liu.
Really?
Things like that. And Butterfly actually was one of my early roles.
So the voice has...
I don't know. I don't know if it's really grown a whole lot, but maybe something about the color of it started to change as I got older.
Or maybe thickened a little bit, or darkened.
Yeah, maybe just more voluptuousness to the actual sound. But still lyric. I'll always have a lyric sound to my voice. But I sing that. I've done other Verdi roles like Due Foscari, in Ernani.
Due Foscari that's Odabella, right? No. I'm thinking Attila.
It's...
Who is that?
What is her name? Lucrezia
Lucrezia
Contarini. And Elvira in Ernani. Simon Boccanegra. I've done... I'm doing a recording of Macbeth, actually, in August.
Really?
Yep.
Lady Macbeth?
Lady Macbeth.
Honey,
what a thing to take on.
That's a big girl role.
Oh, definitely. Which is why I'm only recording it. Who wouldn't dare sing it on stage?
That's exciting, though.
But I'm doing that. Stifalio, for instance, have my first Forza coming up.
Oh, great.
So there's, other things in the mix, but the bulk of it really is Aida.
Yeah.
And it can get frustrating, but the thing about it is really finding the newness every time you go to do the role in different companies. Right. So you really have to play off the energy of your cast and of your conductor and your director, because that's the only thing that keeps you on your toes and keeps it really fresh. Also, I get offered a lot of Aidas. And so you can't take them all.
No.
Because at some point you need a break.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm pretty smart about taking the breaks that I need. A lot of singers, they just go straight through and they sing all year long. I can't do it for a couple of reasons. One, I want my voice to rest properly so that I don't do any damage. And two, I start to miss my home.
Sure.
And my friends, you know.
And we want you to last a good long time.
Yeah.
And protect that instrument. Is it as taxing as it seems Is it occasionally a struggle to sing Aida? A real challenge to sing it?
It depends. I mean, it's funny like how much the acoustics of each house really play a role in how well you sing that performance or how well you don't. You got to have the right balance. There's some companies you go to, the house is super dead, and hopefully the conductor will help you by keeping the orchestra down a bit and keeping everything very clean so that the sound is not muddy and it's easier for you to project. And then some houses is very easy because the acoustics are fabulous. You barely have to do anything. You can hear a pin drop, and you never have to force the voice, and it just comes out really easy. So,
where's your favorite place to have sung Aida at this point in your career? What really it was magic for you?
That's a good question. I did love doing it in Dallas.
Yeah?
At the Dallas Opera.
The new house?
Yes,
That's
at the
beautiful.
new house. I did love it a lot. And I also loved the production in Tokyo.
Oh.
And the reason why, it was the Zeffirelli production that he did especially for them. And it was my costumes were so Ethiopian that it started to kind of throw me into the character even more. And then the acoustics of the house are very good. Mind you, it wasn't the best once the show opened because we did the whole thing through a scrim. The entire show through a scrim. It was crazy.
Strange.
They did it for lighting purposes to give it a more, smoky look. Lighting-wise. But it kind of messed with the acoustics a little bit. But even still, the acoustics are so good that you were able to sort of break through that little barrier, and get through the scrim. So I like that. Now, aside from doing Aida in different houses acoustically, some houses where I've loved to sing are like Dresden. Oh, man. From the stage, when you're standing there and you're actually projecting, what an amazing opera house. And at the Met, as big as it is, the acoustics are fantastic.
I don't think I'll ever understand that until I'll never have the opportunity. But if I were a singer and actually stand on that stage and sing out and see what comes back. Yeah. Because it seems like a barn. It seems so huge. And nearly 5,000 seats. And yet every singer I talk to has sung on the Met stage says that the acoustics are great.
They're great. I mean, it's just
that always surprises me.
It's built in a way to where somehow, I don't know if it's on a curve, but sound-wise, it feels like it must be because everything bounces back down, which is great.
Yeah,
it goes up and bounces back down. So this is really good for the singer because
so you get a little feedback.
You need feedback.
Yeah.
I mean, even people with the best techniques, they need something. You need to be able to feel it come back somehow, And so the Met, shocking for its size, great acoustics.
That's interesting. What is your favorite moment in Aida?
The judgment scene, Amneris and Romfis.
Oh, you're not even there.
I'm not. It's funny because people always ask me my favorite scenes. I say that, and also I love the end of Act 1 and the beginning of Act 1 after the trio when all the soldiers and they come in and they declare war.
But I tell you, you cannot beat the judgment scene for
true.
music and for drama. It is just...
It's so great. And
amazing.
I do like the duet that's right before it between Radames and Amneris also is fantastic. But the judgment scene is just, it's so gripping. There's something about that music that's just so powerful. It gets the hair standing up and fills you with fire. So it's funny, even me being in the opera, I'm just like, all right, stop the opera right now. This is the end. Let's go out and wreck something. Yeah,
So during the judgment scene, do you find yourself like coming out of your dressing room and just standing there and listening?
Every time.
And watching?
It is the scene that I pay the most attention to, that I'm not in, I guess. But it's the one that I always look forward to hearing every time I do Aida. So I'm always obsessed with whoever's doing the Amneris and to see if they got that chest digging in and if they got the ringing high notes. And I've been very impressed with all of them so far, I have to say.
That's so great. I always look forward to the final scene because the duet, Verdi, like so many Italian composers before him, understood the economics of saving your best tune for last.
Oh, yes.
So that, the people then would come back and want to hear it again. And they're paying for more tickets to come back
definitely.
and hear it again. But which is, a great technique. But the first time that I heard Aida, I wasn't that familiar with it except for the Triumphal March, and that's in the middle, and then it's over. But the thing that stuck with me was that gorgeous phrase, that high-flying duet is so
haunting.
Beautiful. But it comes at the end of a very long sing. Is it challenging, that duet? Is it tough?
No.
Really?
It's almost like you've gotten all this tough singing out of the way, and you look forward to that scene. You look forward to dying. And it's written in a way where after you have done all that singing, your voice is so warmed up by this point that it comes out like butter for every Aida.
Wow.
And not just some. I think for every Aida. There may be a few that feel like it's a hard scene, but I don't think so.
Wow.
I mean, because by this point, you're so warmed up, your body is so into it, and you're so ready for a release almost that it comes out like butter.
It's that penultimate phrase, at the end, when both of you are singing it in unison.
So
that
pretty.
I think, but it's so exposed and
very
it would
exposed.
seem to me really scary.
And for me personally, I just go with however the tenor wants to do it. Some of the tenors they do it full out with a very loud B flat, so I'll go with them. But some of them are doing the mezzo voce at the end. And so that, of course, makes it more challenging. But it's easier to do mezzo voce for me when I'm singing along with someone.
Yeah,
and I
sure.
have that support under me. And I think
And
it's the more beautiful way to do it.
And you have a little cover from the other singer. And I imagine the Radames would feel the same way.
Yes.
That there's just a little bit of protection.
It's so funny, the last scene when the Aida and Radames are singing together, because you hear the sound that's in your ears. You hear both of the voices coming together, and it's like all this buzzing sound, that you hear the contrast of the voices, and it's always pretty amazing, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
And for being in San Diego and sharing some time with our audience today.
Yes, gladly.
We are all so looking forward to your Aida.
Me too.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Okay.